Is God bridging really worth it? That is the question that I'm going to be answering in this video, and I'm going to be going over specific points of why you may want to learn God bridging and why you won't want to learn God bridging. Also, if you enjoyed this video and other videos of mine, please subscribe, because I'm going to be doing many more videos just like this one in the very near future on how you can improve your skills in not only Bed Wars, but also just in Minecraft in general. So with that being said, enjoy the video. So I've kind of broken up God bridging into like 3 different sections, and I'm going to be looking at each one of those sections individually, and I'm going to be like putting them together at the end, and I'm going to be making like my final verdict on whether or not God bridging is or isn't worth it. Now I think the first point I'm going to make is price. Now, right away, you might not think that there's a price to God bridging, but I think that there really is. You need so much equipment to be able to actually do God bridging correctly and do God bridging consistently. So, if you think about it, most people and most God bridgers will get the Model Low, and that comes in at around $65. So, not only will they get this, but they will also need like a mouse pad, and that comes in at around like 20 to like anywhere from like $20 to $50. That can be like kind of expensive actually, but I would like guess that most people go for like a $20 mouse pad. So let's just say we're at around like $85 now, and then maybe some grip tape. So we're at around like $95 now. We'll just say like $100 for God bridging. And that's actually kind of a lot, if you just think of it. To learn a bridging method for Minecraft, you have to spend $100, but it's really not that much in the grand scheme of things. Compared to some other, like, gaming equipment and stuff, it's not as expensive as it gets, but I think definitely having a good mouse for God bridging is pretty much, like, the key component. But now I'm going to talk about speed. And the speed of God bridging, it's obviously insane. I think it's the main seller point on why people actually learn God bridging, and it is one of the fastest, if not the fastest, bridging method. Obviously behind these, but I don't even know how you do Andromeda bridging. I'll pass on giving myself carpal tunnel and breaking my mouse, but anyways, the speed of God bridging is just absolutely insane. For a no-shift bridging method, it is very difficult to do, but I think if you do it and you learn this bridging method, the speed really makes it pay off. Here's a clip of somebody doing it in the Hypixel bridging practice on the 30 blocks. You can see their best is a 7 seconds, and here's me doing it. My best is a 9 seconds. Now this may not seem like a massive difference, but if you really think about it, and if it's like in a map where it's a 60 block rush, or maybe like 48 block rush, they would get to my base in like 15 seconds, and I would get to their base in like 20 seconds with like added jumps, because God bridging you're just going straight through the jumps. But with speed bridging you have to kind of pause for the jumps. So with like added jumps it might be like somewhere around 23-ish seconds for speed bridging, whereas it's like 15 seconds for God bridging. So God bridging is obviously, the speed of it is insane, and I think that is the thing that makes it like the most worth it. Now another thing that could play a factor into why you want to learn God bridging, which I didn't really think that I would mention, but I'm just going to mention it anyways, it's just because I think God bridging is just like so popular, and it gets like so much attention on like YouTube, and it gets like a lot of attention like if you see somebody doing it in your game. It's just like you'll see these YouTubers who aren't even like bridging YouTubers, but they're still Minecraft YouTubers. They just like try and learn God bridging. And I think that's because God bridging is just so looked up to, because it's so difficult to do. But also if you see somebody like in your game and they're just like coming at you, like God bridging, like that's scary. You don't want to see that happening. So I think God bridging is also like kind of intimidating, and it's just like, it would just be cool to like be that person, God bridging. So it could be another factor as to why people might want to learn God bridging. So now my last point is going to be time and consistency. So if you're a God bridger, then you're probably really familiar with this. But basically, you need to be able to be consistent with God bridging and pretty much any other bridging method to be able to make your first rush with it and be able to rush with it like in Hypixel or something. You want to be able to like be consistent with it so that you can like make your first rush and not fall. Because if you're falling like 50% of the time, then you're probably not going to use that bridging method. But I am not a God bridger, and I don't actually know God bridging, so I looked at some other YouTubers' videos, and they basically said this is how long it took them to God bridge consistently.
So in reality, the time it would take for you to master God bridging on a practice server like MC Play HD, I would say is around a month to a month and a half.
So in that clip, that person basically said that it took them 1 to 2 months to learn how to God bridge on a practice server. That means that on a practice server where it is just God bridging, and not even on Hypixel in a real game, it took them 1 to 2 months. Now, that's still quite a while, as compared to, like, speed bridging. It probably took me, like, a week, maybe, less than that, even. But for God bridging, if you're actually going to learn the whole thing, you're already at 1 to 2 months for a practice server, but they didn't even mention learning to drag click, and for learning to drag click, let's say that it's going to take an extra, like, few weeks to learn to drag click and to be consistent with your drag clicking as well. But then it's going to take another few weeks to actually be comfortable with it and do it in a bedwars game. So then let's say you're at about 4-ish months, maybe 3 to 5 months. It depends how much you practice God bridging. That is still a lot of time to actually learn a bridging method, and I don't think that this really makes God bridging that worth it. So the final verdict, is God bridging really worth it? No, I really don't think it is. I don't think it's worth your $100 or your 5 months spent giving yourself carpal tunnel and breaking your mouse and your hand. That's a bit exaggerated. But basically, I don't think it's worth your time or your money to put into this bridging method that is really difficult to be like consistent in, and even when you reach that level of consistency, you may only be consistent like 7 times out of 10. And to reach like full consistency, you may need to practice for even longer. I would say the main selling point is really the speed of it. Even for that, there may be other bridging methods that you could look into if you still want to do a no-shift bridging method. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, I would really appreciate it if you subscribed, because like I said, I'm going to be doing many more videos just like this one very soon on how you can improve your skills in bedwars and in Minecraft in general. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and goodbye.